Welcome to Shattering Black Male Stereotypes, where our intention is to empower Black men to live extraordinary lives. You see, there's never been a shortage of Black male role models. There's only been a lack of exposure of those role models. So the intention of this program is to showcase and highlight men of color who are doing amazing things in the world. And so today I got an awesome guest for you. His name is K.A. Wright, and he has written an amazing book that we're going to be talking about. And it's really important because, you know, there's this stereotype that Black men are deadbeat dads and we don't love our children. And so this guy is actually shattering that stereotype because it's apparent that he loves children and he's put his heart and soul into this book specifically for children. So I'm really looking forward to engaging in a dialogue with him and just introducing to the audience. So without further ado, K.A., how you doing, man?
I'm fine. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, well, again, I am really excited about your book and what it has to offer because I think it's so important. You know, as they say, reading is fundamental. And as an author myself, have a passion for books. And the fact that you're approaching it from the children's perspective is extremely important. So before we jump into your book, I want to ask you a few icebreaker questions just to get you comfortable and introduce you to the audience. So first of all, tell us where you're from and tell us a little bit about growing up, whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Okay. I am from Raceland, Louisiana. That's a town outside of, well, it's in between New Orleans and New Orleans and Lafayette. So I'm from there, a little small town, 3 streets. Yeah, man. Growing up, we lived with my grandmother for a long time. So we all came up in the same household. It was my mom, her aunts, my mom, her sisters, which are my aunt, my grandmother, grandpa, off and on.
Brothers and sisters?
Brothers and sisters, yes, sir. So throughout the time, I couldn't do it. I grew up kind of I won't say sheltered. I wasn't sheltered as much, but like growing up, there were certain things I couldn't do, so my mom always kind of protected, made sure that I, stayed in the house for the most part, couldn't play sports like I wanted to, but it didn't matter, What else could I share with you about this experience growing up? Of course, like the stories will tell you, of course you see things in neighborhoods and stuff when you grow up. So there were those times that I wasn't as sheltered because my dad would come and pick me up on the weekends to kind of get me away from being around my mom and stuff so much. So that was good. So my dad would come and pick me up on the weekends, take me to wherever he'd be. And so I had freedom doing that. And so, I got to live, both worlds,
Gotcha.
Yeah. So seeing things growing up in neighborhoods and stuff like that, of course, you see the drugs, you see, the fights, you see all this crazy stuff going on. And you see poverty, you see, it's the story, the story that a lot of us in America see, a lot of Black men in America see. It's not that we chose these situations or these places. These are the cards that you're dealt with. So you have to, learn that as well.
Got to play that hand to the best of your ability. That's something my grandfather taught me at an early age. He said, because I remember when I was about 8 years old, I remember asking my grandfather, I said, Grandpa, why is God so mad at Black people? Because I saw all the, this is back in the 60s now. And I remember just as a kid, just wondering, because my grandfather was very, very religious, and he'd always talk about God and all that. And they dragged me to church. And I remember I asked him, I said, why was God so mad at Black people? And he looked at me and he said, God not mad at Black people. He said, first of all, God never makes mistakes. And he says, if he made you Black, there's a reason he made you Black. And he says, now, here's the key. God gave you a gift. And he says, now, you have to understand, you must play the hand that you were dealt. God never makes mistakes. He gave you a good hand. You just have to figure out how to play that hand to the best of your ability. And I really internalized that, because from that moment on, I remember thinking to myself that I wasn't bad because I was Black. It was a gift. And I always saw it that way, that God made me Black for a purpose. And that's what has allowed me to overcome and far exceed what society says a young Black man is supposed to achieve. So I've always held on to that particular lesson from my grandfather. Now, a little side note also, my mom is actually from Lafayette, Louisiana.
Oh, serious?
Yeah, I got a lot of kinfolk in Louisiana.
Oh, that's cool, man. Lafayette's like an hour away.
Yeah, that's what a lot of kinfolk there. So, all right, next question. Name a woman other than your mother who inspires you to be who you are.
Inspires me to be who I am. I would say, I would have to say my grandmother.
Okay.
And I would say my grandmother because, well, right now she has Alzheimer's and dementia. But before that took place, she's the one that actually told me to follow my dreams, follow the things that I wanted to do. She had no idea, because not only that I'm an author, I'm also an actor. And so she was the person to be like, I was in physical therapy. I was in school for physical therapy. I had gotten into the school and everything, but funds were low, and I was like, I don't know if I can survive if I do this, And I called her and told her, and she was like, I didn't know that's what you wanted to do. And I was like, yeah. So she was like, well, make sure you, she said, well, you can always go back to school. She was like, chase that. She said, do acting. She said, go do it. She said, give yourself a chance to do that. She said, and if it don't work out for you, whatever, just go back to school. And I was like, all right, D. I was like, all right, D. I said, later on, well, you'll see me on a movie or something this year, I promise. And, so later on that year, she seen me on television.
Oh, nice. Nice.
But that's the lady who I give, I'm definitely inspired by her,
Good. Now, obviously, you must enjoy books or you wouldn't become an author. So name a book that helped shape you into the man that you are.
Ooh. A book that helped shape me. There's a few, man. That's a tough one, man. Because you get different experiences.
Right.
You get different experiences from each book, and
what's the first one that pops in your head?
I would have to say, let's come back to that one. Let me think about that one.
Right. Think about that one.
Let me think about that one.
So, do you like movies?
Yes, sir.
Name a movie that you love and tell me why you love it.
I like Love Jones, man.
Great movie. Great movie. That was real. That movie was
yeah, that movie was real. It was I think I got a lot of creativity from that movie. You got to see what love, you got to see love in that movie. You got to see like art. You got to see, it was just everything. Poetry. I love poetry as well. I do that too. Nice. But I think that movie kind of shaped me. That movie shaped me shaped a lot of things for me. I like that movie. And another movie would be, I like movies like The Matrix and stuff like that.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
That's in my top 3.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like those movies, man.
Great choice. Great choice. Now, what would a perfect day look like for KA? What would you be doing on a perfect day?
On a perfect day, man, honestly, I like to, I like to do basically anything, man. Anything that doesn't get me killed, I'm good with it, right? But perfect day right now in this position right now, perfect day would be sitting on the beach in a foreign country somewhere, just reading a book or something. Like, seriously, just quiet, listening to the waves, and, you know, getting the scent of the ocean, and, you know, feeling the sun on my skin. And like having to do something fun later on, like, you know, just, I don't know, just hiking or something. You know, I've never really done that before, but I wouldn't mind doing it.
Nice, nice. I love to travel. My wife and I both love to travel. Just absolutely love it. Now, there are some people who are pessimistic about the future while others are optimistic about the future. So where do you fall on that spectrum between optimism and pessimism for the future in general? Where do you fall?
I would say I fall more on the optimistic side, because, you know, where, I mean, everything is perception, right? So where someone else may see danger and destruction and all this other stuff, I see life and I see hope. You know, that's just me. I think that, you know, some people like the things that never change. I feel like I see change, you know. So I fall more on the optimistic side of things.
There you go. Well, see, I break the scale towards optimism. I am an irrepressible optimist with a passion for the impossible. That's the way, that's the lens through which I see the world. Extremely optimistic. I don't buy into all the negative media hype because I believe I am 100% responsible for my life turning out the way I want it to, nobody else. And it is with that thought, that belief, that drives my optimism, knowing that I am the source of my happiness and my success. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so optimistic. Now, last question. If I gave you a magic wand, and with this magic wand, you could create anything your heart desired, what would your life look like 10 years from now if you had that magic wand?
Ooh, that's a good one. Good one, good one, good one. And I want to try to quote Dr. Frances Cress Welsing when I say it, and it's not like she would say, I forgot exactly what it was, but I think I've seen it somewhere when she talked about the magic wand that she wished that she would I forgot it. Well, anyways, with my magic wand, you know, I would definitely it's not like, I want to say like world peace and all that other stuff like that. I just really wish that a lot of people of color would wake up. I wish that would happen. And I really wish that everyone would be able to live in harmony with each other in some way, shape, or form, however that may look to you, you know. And of course, I want to talk about world hunger and different things like that. You know, I really would like to see peace. I really like to see peace and see where everyone can actually like work together on a certain playing field. It's okay that, you know, that you're different, and that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about your religious belief. It doesn't matter about any of those things. But I really would like to see really would like to see people work together and break that old. I would like to see a lot of people of color, a lot of Black people break that old mindset of, you know, things that just was passed down to us. Mm-hmm. Don't disregard it, but break it. I would like to see, so that way, so everyone can kind of operate on the same playing field, like, you know, operate without having that hurt and that pain, just living off of it and, you know, feeding more into it. That's what I would hope to see. I would hope to see our little babies grow up to be, you know, at something that I can't even fathom, you know, because we really don't know unless you see like a real whole individual. So I just really wish that if I had a magic wand, I wish that's what I would like to see in 10 years. I would like to see like, just, I don't even know. I get excited about it, but I can't even really answer that.
Well, in the famous words of Miss Whitney Houston, I believe that children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. And you are doing that with your book. So you are going to support and be a part of that positive change. So we're going to make your dream become a reality, because we hold the power to transform the world within us. And as you mentioned, we have to wake up. We have to understand that, yes, there are obstacles. Yes, there are challenges, but there's never been a challenge placed in front of people of color that we didn't overcome.
Right.
once again, that's why I'm so optimistic about the future. Now, with that being said, KA, I want you now to introduce yourself to the audience professionally. Tell them what you do.
Hello, everyone. My name is K.A. Wright. I am an author and an actor. Okay, I write books. It's my first book, man. This is my first book, and I'm excited about it. It took a long time to get here. I'm also a poet. So I guess we could chalk it all up and say that I'm an artist. Yeah. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm an artist, a creator.
Nice. Now, obviously, we have that kinship as an author myself. I know the feeling of all that energy, all that effort you've put into something, and then it's like birthing a child. It really is. And so you now have this amazing thing called the book. And I know that your intention is to use that book to positively impact the world. And that's why I want to have you on the show, because it's important that we share information with each other, that we share knowledge and we share wisdom. And that's what you're doing in this book. So the book is called Perfect Just Like You. What was the inspiration behind that title?
Let's see what happened with that title. I don't think it was a title just yet. I was like, at the time when I received that about the title, I was sitting in I was in a friend's house. He had an abandoned house, and he let me sleep in there. So I would jump the fence, sleep in there, and it was like, roach infested everything. It was a tough time at that time, but he left it open for me to be able to get back and forth in and out. And so I was just sitting up one night, and a poem came to me, and I was like, perfect, just like, I was like, I'm not writing a children's book, I don't want to write a children's, like that. And but it was inside of the poem. And so after I finished it, after I kind of was writing some of it out, perfect just like you, perfect just like you. It's like, what would the title be? Perfect just like you. So that's how that title came about. It was something simple, but it was just like, and he's like, okay, so what is it? I was just thinking about the things that people may have insecurities with, and just letting them know that it's perfect. So why not choose that title, Perfect Just Like You? So that's where that came from.
I like it. Now, there's this idea, as I mentioned earlier, that, Black men don't take care of their kids and don't love their kids. And again, it's apparent that you really love kids. So what do you think triggered that in you, that love for kids, to want to help them? What do you think triggered that?
Well, I have nieces and nephews. So I've always had children in my life at some point or another. When I was younger, I always had to babysit my little sister too. So I babysitted my little sister a lot. My mom would work a lot, so that was my job. So it was like I raised a child already myself, So as my little sister, I don't look at her as just my little sister. She's like my daughter too, at the same time. So I mean, I like to say I didn't like children like that, I like to say that, but I actually, I actually love them. They're so bright, they're so smart and intelligent. I love them, and it's always good to see how their minds work, and the questions that they ask. So. But knowing that I had nieces and nephews, I've always tried to at least treat them like they were my own as well.
So what triggered you to write the book? I mean, was it the poem that came to you, or why did you make a decision that I'm going to write a children's book? There had to have been something driving that. What was that about?
Well, like I said, it just kind of came to me at one point, and I believe, like you said, Whitney used to say, children are the future. I've always believed that as well. And but the thing about what pushed me through to finish that book off, was my little cousin. She had trouble with identifying with little black girls, little black Barbie dolls. And my aunt told me about it. And so, you know, they kind of knew that I was kind of writing something. And she told me about it. She was like, yeah. And I think I told her that I was actually doing it. And the conversation came up. She was like, yeah, she said, because, you know, she's feeling like this. And she that we trying to get her to see herself a little bit differently.
It's 7 o'clock.
So what I did was I showed her the character. And once I showed her, I just knew I had to make a change in that area. But once I showed her the character, she like lit up. So that was the driving force behind it, because I wanted to kind of help change her mind. And I knew there was like countless of other young girls and young boys out there struggling with the same thing.
Sure.
Just 'cause I pay attention. I just kind of I watch people. I pay attention to people and I see the things. I watch media, of course, just like anybody else. But actually, when you're on the ground and you're in stores and stuff like that, you see the way people are, the way they interact with each other. You see the things that they do. And you know that's like, you know, the child doesn't see himself, or she doesn't see herself. That's the way that she should. And I mean, you really can't blame them because with the constant, you can't blame them with the constant, with the bombarding images, you know, in the media of like, you know, what a child's supposed to look like, or what this kid is supposed to look like, or what's the standard of beauty. So, I mean, think about it. If that's what you're seeing all the time, you're going to internalize that and think, well, this is what I look like, or this is what I need to look like, you know? So that's why I did it.
Now, you mentioned briefly that your dad, you know, picked you up when you were a kid at times. So apparently you had a relationship with your dad, but you say you don't have any children yourself. So I guess my question is, are you looking forward to being a dad one day?
I don't know, man. No, eventually one day. Yeah. Eventually one day. I think that's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
Am I willing to take on that task eventually at some point with the right person? I would be willing to, with the right person, I think I would be excited to be a father. But right now, I think I got a job to do.
So did your childhood experiences influence the way you wrote this book?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, because I was able to, there's something in there that, some things that I figured that, I think there were some things in the book that I felt that I probably would have struggled with, you know, growing up. Then also growing up and actually speaking to other people and seeing how they react to certain things. Like, for instance, like some women that I've met before, you know, they told me before, like they didn't like their hair. Like they didn't like this, they didn't like that. Or I was friends with somebody and they would tell me that, you know, this person feels like this about themselves. Or I'll see people putting bleaching cream on their skin. And so like looking at those things, growing up again, I watch everything. So looking at all this stuff, I'm like, wow, you know, what if you can change that? What if you can get people to see things a little bit differently? So that's what kind of, you know.
Now, do you have any background in education, or how did you, again, there's a lot that goes into putting a book together. And so I know that there's a message in your book. So did you have any educational background in terms of putting the content together, or just something you just felt was the right thing to do?
Something I felt was the right thing to do. No education. I mean, no education. No background in education. No background in education at all. I just, you know, it just seemed like the right thing to do.
Well, see, here's the thing. See, we live in a society and culture that somehow believes that just because a person may have a PhD or something after their name, it somehow makes them an expert. My belief and my definition of an expert is someone who does 3 R's. And I actually borrowed this from a guy named Brendan Burchard. And I love this because I used to hate the word expert. I don't like the word because it implies that a person knows all there is to know about a thing. And I don't think that's possible. I think we should always be learning more. And so I don't think there's a place you get to that says, I'm an expert, now I'm there. But anyway, he says, an expert is simply someone who does 3 R's. They research, they report, and they create results. And I absolutely love that description because I love research. I'm a huge book nerd. I love reading books. I love gaining information. So there's my research. And then I report. I report by sharing what I learn through my books. That's my way of reporting. The information that I share or report helps transform people's lives. So they get results. By that definition, I am an expert. Even though I don't like the title, I love that definition because that's exactly what I do. I research, I report, I get results. And that's exactly what you've done. You've researched it, you put the content together, you're now reporting it by sharing your books, and now you're going to get some results. Based on the testimonies of your book, you're getting the results that you were looking for. So therefore, you are an expert, and you don't have to have some title to do what you're doing, because like you say, it was the right thing to do. So you trusted your heart and you shared your wisdom and knowledge with others. And that to me is what a true expert does. So you are an expert in my opinion. And like I said, you are gifted. It's a gift to be able to share the stuff that you're sharing. So with that being said, so you mentioned that, your cousin or your niece that, was having troubles with identity. So is the book designed to improve self-esteem, or is it just more entertainment? What's the underneath it all? What's the story in the book? What lesson should the readers get out of the book?
Well, it's definitely for it's not for entertainment at all. And actually, I tried to use like less fluff as possible. It's really no fluff. I mean, it's like a little cute, like a little cute ring to it, and everything's perfect, just like you. But it's for a confidence builder. There's so many levels. It's so many different things about the book. But it's built to give confidence. Give confidence in areas where people may need it. And it's not just for little Black children as well. It's something that all children can actually benefit from. So I talk about that. I speak about I talk about the hair, the skin, the eyes, the height, the weight, teeth, their names. Some children may not like their names. I have affirmations in the book. So that's just something right there for them to use as a tool to gain and build confidence on a daily basis, And I also have a message sent with care that speaks to child molestation. And that's something that's something for them, like as a preventative tool as well. God forbid that they actually go through something like that, but that's just something to show, like, hey, if this happens, if such and such happens, if a person says something to you, or touches you in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, please let an adult know you did nothing wrong. Don't be scared. Your family, your body's your sacred instrument, and no one has the right to touch it without your permission. Your love. So it's just basically like letting them know to, let someone know about that. So it's definitely not for entertainment.
Right.
It's for building confidence. And the coloring book, workbook, that one, I ask questions to the child. I ask them about like how they feel about their hair, their skin, their eyes, the height, the weight, all those different things, right? And if the parents read what the child writes, they can figure out what a child has an insecurity and put them on the right path. So it's more of a tool used to probe, to get inside the child's mind, and let them kind of, and I let them have fun. I have fun with them, but the parents can actually read it and be like, hey, well, she doesn't feel too happy about her hands or her feet. let's do something to try to at least, get her to start liking them, and, just anything. So yeah, it's not
Now, have you had an opportunity to get into any schools yet, or where are you with the book in terms of getting it out there?
Right now, yesterday, well, I'll say Friday, well, about a few weeks ago, I read to like a group of about a group of 6 kids, group of 6 children. I hate to say kids, a group of 6 children at Phillips tutoring, Phillips Kids tutoring in New Orleans, in Kenner. And then on Friday of last week, I think that was the 17th. That was the 19th. What was that? The 19th, I think.
Probably.
Whatever it is. One of those. It was Friday.
Yeah, the 19th would have been a Sunday.
Um,
So the Friday was the 17th.
Okay. Yeah, on the 17th, I read to like over 100. It's like over 100 children at this, what was this place called? It was Idea Bridge Academy. Idea Bridge Academy is a charter school out in Baton Rouge, and that was crazy by itself. Like, it's just, I read to over 100 children, and they all were very receptive of the book. They loved it. They were asking questions. So there'll be some big things happening with them. And yesterday, I went to another school, and we kind of like, they just instantly like took a liking to me, and we're going to do a partnership. So yeah, I'm working on it.
Nice. So let's take a look at your media kit real quick. Just to, number one, let the audience kind of see the book itself. Let's see here, do a little magic here. There he is there. And ta-da! So obviously there's lots of diversity there. You've got different ethnicities. You've got what we might call a special needs child. So you sort of encompassed this amazing diversity of children. And so the characters, as we look at the characters here, the says illustrated by Starvos Pierce. So did you come up with the character designs, or did your illustrator, or how much involved were you with choosing how the characters would look?
Oh man, Starvos Pierce, that guy is amazing. Like, I have nothing bad to say about him. I actually met him for the first time on Friday too. He's actually from Baton Rouge. Starvos, what happened with that? So the first, can I tell you? Do you want to know about the book?
Sure.
Beginning?
Sure. Yeah, go
All
ahead.
right. Well, at first, when I first started, it was just a little black girl. The image was just a little black girl by itself, and that relationship didn't work out between that illustrator and I. So I had to move forward. So moving forward, I ran into Starvos again. I was supposed to actually work with him at first, but I thought he was too expensive. So I was like, I can't afford him. But then after that took place with that other guy, this situation happened. He just like, I went outside. I remember like sitting down, and I was like, man, what am I do? I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna get this started. And then all of a sudden I looked at my phone, and it was him. He was like, hey man, he was like, I'm trying to find out where you are. Like, if you want to still do that book you were talking about a while back. And I was like, okay, I don't care how much he costs, I'm going with him, So sold my car, didn't have the money to do it, didn't have the funds, sold my car to make it happen. And sat down with him. I moved to New York. We were talking one day about it. And he was like, hey man, he said, I said, I think I need more people. I think it was something, the conversation went something like that. And he was like, well, I can do more characters or something. So I was like, well, okay, that sounds good. Well, let's see what you got. And he showed me like a template of a bunch of characters that he had. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I like this character, and that character, and that character. But I was like, well, make this character, if you can you make this character short? can you make this character a little rounder? Can you do this? Can you add this? And so like, you know, he gave me a template of like some characters. And I was like, I want this character. Can you put this character in a wheelchair? And can you give this character a teddy bear? And I want this. And you know, it was just a bunch of stuff. So like very detailed, like all of the details, that's all me. But he definitely provided, the characters, and I just had fun with it. After that, I did whatever I wanted to with the characters.
Yeah.
And, you know,
he's a really good illustrator.
Oh,
he captures expressions and feeling as you look at the characters. You know, there's just this authenticity to them. I really like. And again, I love how you've incorporated such diversity. You know, you've got an amputee. You know, it's really good. I think that the cover really sets the tone for your message that all kids are perfect, just like they are.
yeah.
And this whole idea of acceptance. So yeah, I personally don't like the word tolerance, because to me, acceptance is deeper, because if I'm just tolerant and I tolerate you, it means I still may have a negative feeling about you, but I'm just going to tolerate you because I'm supposed to. But if I accept you, if I really accept you, I don't necessarily have to like the things that you do, but I accept you for who you are. Therefore, I don't have any negative judgment about the things you may do that I don't like. So I think there's a distinction to be made between acceptance and tolerance. And what I get out of this is acceptance. Accept them for who they are. And I think that's really powerful.
Right. And in order to do those things, you have to learn to accept yourself as well.
Absolutely. That's where it starts.
Right.
Absolutely. So there's the man with the plan. He decided that he was going to do this thing, and he just went all out. And you've mentioned a lot of the challenges that you have overcome. So I think it's a time for celebration. And I think this picture captures the expression, I finished my book. So I love that. And so here's a little quote or comments about the book. It says, thoughtfully crafted, perfect just like you, is a children's book especially created to help combat the effects of the negative words and energy our children often experience when dealing with any disability or disease, low self-esteem, bullying, and self-hate. You nailed it. I mean, our kids are dealing with this on a regular basis, and it's important to provide them with some tools to help them deal with these issues. So once again, I acknowledge you for that, because this is what your work is about. It's about removing that belief of separation and we're different, and accepting us for who we really are. So again, I acknowledge you for that. Now, it's also, you got a coloring book and a workbook. So do they go hand in hand, or do you get them separately, or how exactly in the perfect world would that work? Would they read the book first and then do the coloring book, or does the coloring book stand alone from the workbook?
Well, the coloring book can stand alone. It can stand alone, but I prefer people to get them both, you know,
Sure.
To get them both, because they'll not only see those characters again, you know, and I mean, it just builds familiar, you know, it makes them more familiar with the characters a little bit, and just give them the opportunity, because right here in the regular book, you don't really have they don't have the opportunity to color, because it's colored for you already. Right. So here it just helps them to color them how they see fit, you know, color them. If this was my person right here, I would have this person look like this. And, you know, it just gives them the chance to be little artists themselves, right? Yeah. And spare time, and also makes them relax and answer the questions, you know, with their most authentic self.
Yeah. Well, I love what you've written here, because it says its intended use is to serve as a practical and therapeutic piece of art, which gives each child the freedom to express themselves by writing and adding color to their world as they see fit. So I think that's a really good approach to giving a child the opportunity to express themselves, like you say, and share what they think, how they feel, what they believe through coloring in your workbook. So I really, really like that. Now you've got a couple of characters here. Jules, who obviously is wearing a Muslim burqa or whatever you call that thing, which I think is really important because, again, this is what this country is built on. And despite what the current presidency may be promoting out there, we're not separate. We're all together. We should all be together in this thing called America. And so bringing all these different types of people together in this particular book is what the world needs right now, what the country needs right now. We need to celebrate diversity and not use it as tools to separate us and cause division. So I really like the characters, great stuff. So some of the book benefits, let's see, improve self-esteem, which, let's see, go back. Improve self-esteem, improve reading skills, promotes inclusivity by recognizing and respecting the differences of others, increase positive thought, self-acceptance, and self-love, fosters parent-child relationships by creating a safe space for dialogue. I like it. Let's see here. We talked about that already. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. There we go. Now, I like this. Any disability or disease doesn't mean that you're weak. You're beyond strong. It is a superpower indeed. Whether you have crutches or a wheelchair, just remember that you are a beautiful blossoming flower with tons of love to share. Cuddly, wuddly, super duper cute. Your superpower is your superpower, and it is perfect, just like you.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that a lot. It's great. So here's your vision, which you mentioned it at the beginning when I asked what you would do with your magic wand. And whether or not you realize it, you actually answer it right here in this picture. Because what you, huh?
I said, oh, wow. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah. So see, you have a vision of creating a world that works, a world of peace. And you're actually, in your own way, making that a reality. So I hope you take this opportunity to acknowledge yourself for being a change agent, for being willing to go through tons of adversity and hold on to a vision to bring this to light. And I know that that's not by accident. There is something higher than you that's driving you to do this. That's my belief. So again, I just want to acknowledge you for the work that you're doing, the impact that you're having on the world. And it has been my honor and my privilege to give you this opportunity to, share your book. So now, if you were to sum it up, and let's say that there are parents watching this right now, what message do you want to give to the parents? Because it all begins with the parents. And it can be extremely difficult to get the parents to buy into this. So what message would you give to the parents out there who might be thinking about, they're trying to decide if they want to buy this book? What's your message to those parents?
Well, my message would be, if you care about them, and which I know you do, I would think, I think it would be beneficial for them to have this, for you to have this book on your shelf. I'm not just saying that trying to get your money, but the intent behind the book is pure love. It's, it's all good. It's really good intentions. And I think, and I've seen it work. I've seen it work before. I know it works. That's the thing. I know it works. And this is not just from me. This is from the countless number of people that I've ran into so far who's purchased the book already. I have proof. I can go in my messages and show them this is not coming from me. I know that it works. And if you care anything about their well-being and their confidence and and their ability to make a change and make an impact on the world themselves, I think this would be a good product for you. And if you just want to go, and it'll be a good tool too. And speaking of that, well, I'll say this after that. Another thing I look at our children as plants and, flowers and stuff like that, right? It's always a good analogy. You can't go wrong with it, right? But they need to be watered. They need to be watered. I mean, you need to shower them with love at all costs, and sometimes it's hard because, people, they go through, they have this, that you get stuck at work sometimes, and, you want to take care of yourself and all these other things get in the way. And then when you finally get home, you don't have time to really put into dealing with your child because it's just the everyday grind. I think this is something, right? This book right here can also give you some of that extra time with your child. It'll help you. It's interactive. So they won't just forget about that part. So even though if you may grind it out, I guarantee you, I truly believe, I truly believe that that's something they'll hold on to for a long time, maybe for the rest of their life. If they can't say anything else nice about you, they'll remember, hey, my mom used to read this book to me, and she used to make me touch my nose, she used to make me touch my eye, and all these different things, right? So I just think there's a lot of good qualities to it, and I do think it should be on your shelf. It's to be used as a parenting tool. Not saying that you need to know how to parent, but I'm just saying it's a good product to have, a good tool to have.
Well, since I target men specifically with this particular program because I think it's really important for men to step up. Because as men, we were taught that we had two basic responsibilities: to provide and protect. But no one really taught us how to connect. And I think a lot of men struggle with that. And what we need to do is figure out ways to connect with our children. And this book, I believe, will give us that opportunity. Will give you, the viewer, the opportunity to connect, because you can't put a price tag on connection. And spending time with your child, reading to them, connecting with them it's invaluable. Like I say, you can't put a price on it. So I believe that, especially as men of color, it's imperative that we read to our children, love our children, connect with our children. And a lot of us don't know how to do that. If we're completely honest with ourselves, we don't know how to do that. So here's a way to do that, to connect with your child: reading a book, engaging in the conversation with them about the content of the book, and making sure that they recognize that they're perfect just the way that they are. So I think you've done an amazing service. So how can people find the book if they want to buy the book? And what's the best way to connect with you if someone wants to reach out to you?
If you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me at, what is it? It's k.a.wright@perfectjustlikeyou.com. Also, something happened. Okay, I see it. Another thing, you can find me on, you can find the book at www.perfectjustlikeyou.com. And you can find me on Facebook at Perfect Just Like You. And on Instagram, it's Perfect Just Like You 2018. So you can find me there, find me anywhere. And also whenever you purchase the book, everything is on the back. It's on the back of the book as well. So you can find it there if you can see it. You see it?
Got it.
Well, yeah, everything is right there in the back of the book. But that's how you can find me. So please feel free to reach out. I'm always down for a conversation, healthy conversation. But yeah, so, speaking about what you said a second ago about about connecting, that's actually, if on that, the media kit that you just showed, I actually used a quote from someone on there who made a quote about the book. And when she said that the book fosters parent-child relationship. Like, you could pull that up.
Let's see where I've got that here somewhere. Give me a second here. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see. Let me.
And I can kind of show too, like some of the stuff that's in the book.
Yeah.
In the meantime, so this is about the hair.
All right. So your quote is, let's see here.
Go down.
This is interactive children books is still
Not there.
not there.
Not there.
Yeah, not there.
Not there.
Not there.
Oh, right there.
That's right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. Perfect, just like you, could not have been more timely and meaningful. The interactive nature of the book fosters parent-children relationship and creates a positive environment for sharing and emphasizing uplifting thoughts and concepts. Wright's work is brilliant and inspired by love and a deep understanding of our shared humanity. That's a powerful quote. That speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. That's from a Dr. Fabrizia Fostanella. Good quote. Good quote. That speaks volumes. All right, my man, we are about out of time. I want to give you one last opportunity to share any closing thoughts that you have with the audience. So here's your opportunity to shine, whatever you want to share.
Buy the book. I don't know.
There you go.
But yeah, just, buy the book, and it's a good tool, man. Just make sure that, you do whatever you can to make sure that our children have our best chance to succeed in the world. And I truly believe that I'm doing a good thing, and I just want to keep pushing forward. And I just want to make sure that this is like copied and pasted into the hearts and minds of people around the world. So, and hopefully, if it works, I mean, let's try it. We won't know unless we try it. So, one thing too, I'll show you really quickly. I don't think I told people what this was. So, all right, these are my characters really quickly, okay?
All right.
Chloe, Darius, Camila, Kalia, Jules, Jaden, Mateo, and this is Mr. Scruggs. This means shine your light, remain powerful, embrace change, love stronger, create balance, aim high. Oh, I'm sorry. Become your best self, aim high, and create balance.
Oh,
and,
nice.
I use the puzzle pieces to show that everybody's connected in some way, shape, or form, and that but we all are different, and that we should love and embrace ourselves while also loving and embracing everyone else too. And I don't think it's that hard to do, especially when probably for adults, but for children, they don't know any better, so we have to teach that to them, and so that's the goal.
Well, that's beautiful. I love how you did the puzzle pieces to symbolize connection, that we all go together, with our differences, and it all fits to make one beautiful piece. So thank you for sharing that. All right. Well, hey, I just want to say, again, thank you for spending an hour with us, sharing your vision, and we fully support you and your work, and we wish you continued success in everything that you're doing, my brother. I couldn't be prouder of you. Continue what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right, so this has been another episode of Shattering Black Male Stereotypes, and Mr. K.A. is doing that in leaps and bounds, my brother, so keep shattering those stereotypes. In the meantime, we'll see you next episode. Take care.
All right, peace. Thank you.